From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a huge night for a beautiful June 25th, 2022 with breaking news on so many fronts tonight. The economy, your money, the Federal Reserve, inflation, recession, and yes, your fourth stimulus check of every U.S. state. This recording, we're going to go over that fourth stimulus check found on this channel back in the month of March and why you got to get it tonight. Because phase one is where this economy is, and phase two is just 90 days away from now. Go right in this video, become a member, get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. But today, a one-time surprise. On a weekend, the membership newsletter will be rolled out because new add-ons are added in there. And what are the exciting new features of the newsletter? They're coming up later in tonight's recording. As we go into a big night, we're going to do a lot of new things tonight that we haven't done before. I'm going to have you make a list and make sure you are up to date on the following topics in tonight's recording and on a daily basis. What phase of this economy are we in? And moreover, what do you know tonight about inflation? What do you know tonight about recession? What do you know tonight about labor? I need you as a viewer of this channel to know the changing status of each of those three items every day because we are changing dramatically as the economy slows down. I'm going to also make sure that you understand the latest details on the housing, retail, and stock market daily because you need to know those benchmarks to understand where your economy is going. Three things you need to do every day is you need to know where the economy is, where it's going, and how to get big money because that's the only way you're going to survive that downward spiral of this economy. And that's what every video does. This is the first phase between now and September, and I need you to know in a daily basis what happened to inflation that day, recession, labor, also what happened with housing, retail, and stocks. Maybe nothing happened at all, but I need you to know what's the changing focus of them daily because that's the only way you're going to prepare your family with getting every check that's available. And in the second half of this video, we're going to get those big checks. Upwards of 80,000. How do you get them? You become a member. Go right in this video right now and join the channel and stay with me for the big broadcast, a 1-hour special report for June 25th, 2022. It's evenings. And good evening, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful night. It is a beautiful day here along the coast as data continues to come on in even on a weekend. And we'll be looking at that economic data in just a second. But here's what you need to know going into a new night, a new day, and a new week. What's important to understand is that there's a fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. We're going to get those checks later in this recording. Three things you need to do to get those checks. 1, subscribe to this channel. 2, go under the video and become a member where it says join the channel. And number 3, stay the second half of this video. We're going to go over those big checks featured in the newsletter, which today is going to get rolled out Monday through Friday usually, but it's a special Saturday edition. And what is that special Saturday edition? You're going to find out. I'm excited you are tuning in on this big, bold, beautiful day of June 25th, 2022. Tonight, we're going to do something a little bit different. As this economy continues to fall dramatically, there's 3 things that every viewer of this channel needs to be doing for themselves, their family, and their community on a daily basis. You need to know where this economy is, where it's going, and how to prepare for your family across the board. And tonight's recording, we're going to go over all of that. Here's what I want you to know that's due tonight. I want you to bring to every video your understanding of what happened the day before and the day before that. Then I want you to listen in to every video, every day, every new video to learn the latest update on the following subject matters: inflation, recession, and then also labor. those are the major three subject matters I want you to know. Inflation. Did inflation change today? Did we learn anything new? Then recession. Are we in recession or are we not? How far are we away? Then labor. Did we learn anything new about labor? Labor's unemployment, like layoffs or store closures. Those are the major three topics I'd identified. They're important to understand because we're going from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3 in this economy. Those are phases I've identified, and they're based upon a lot of empirical data, which we're going to go over in a second. What is new tonight on inflation, recession, and also labor? Inflation is based upon a number. There's a lot of different numbers for inflation, but the number that most Americans and the Federal Reserve relies on is a monthly number. It's called the Consumer Price Index number, the CPI, and it was released once a month. So there is some delay, and between those points, what do? We'll go over that in a second. The last time we had the number was for the month of May, released in the month of June, this month, and it was a 4.5 read, 4.5%. Wall Street expecting 4.3%. What does this mean? When Wall Street expects a number and it's higher, especially on inflation, it means it's spooking the markets, it's surprising the markets. This is not what they anticipated in the case of inflation. If it came in lower, that would be good. That means inflation is lower than Wall Street expected. Now, what are we looking for in the inflationary situation? What we're looking for in the inflationary situation is the following. We're looking for the number to peak and finally settle down. And if it doesn't peak and doesn't settle down, then we have a series of major problems. And what's at issue tonight is that we're looking to see whether the number is finally going to peak and stop rising and finally will pull back. Since this recording started, since this channel started in April of 2020, it's been rising and has never come down. Last year, myself, the only U.S. financial broadcaster, got it right. America, the financial analysts on Wall Street, and even the head of the Federal Reserve said inflation was coming right high at 4%, they said, in December 2021 and be temporary or transitory. I said no. I said I believe it's going to be 8% and still around for a while and may even peak higher. It came in at 8% in December 2021 and continues to remain a little bit higher tonight. Now, the Federal Reserve, he has a dual mandate. The Federal Reserve is in charge of monetary policy of the country. Its head is Jay Powell. It has governors. Its dual mandate, its dual focus, its organizational purposes has 2 points. One, price stability, which is another way to say inflation. Price stability in goods, meaning you go to the supermarket, $2 is still $2 3 months from now. It's not $8. And the second item is full employment, trying to get the most people of the economy employed. Those are 2 things the Federal Reserve has to do. What do we know tonight about inflation? What we know about tonight for inflation, it's been over about 3 weeks since the last CPI read. We had a PPI read, which is the producer price index number, and it was a little bit hot. But since then, we have not had any other real benchmark numbers yet to give us indication of why inflation is higher. So this is what I need you to know. I need you to know, where is inflation today? Do we have any new data? And do you sense it's going higher or lower? Now, I've taught my viewers this channel really well. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. We learn 3 things in every video: where the economy is, where we're going, and how to get money. But I also teach viewers how to learn. And one of the big ways to learn inflation is just buying goods at the supermarket. If you're at the supermarket and you buy the same milk at the same market every week, remember the price you paid last week, the month before that. If you see it the same price throughout the month of June, we may have some price stability on inflation. If you see the price of milk higher in the month of June than it was earlier in the month of June, then we may have not have reached the peak on inflation. This is what viewers have been really good at. Remember, you see inflation earlier than I see inflation. How important is this? This is very important for many reasons, because inflation higher, it could send this economy into recession sooner. Next, recession. Are we in a recession? No. What is a recession? A recession has a lot of different terms, but let me just give you the definition of it, because it may be confusing for some people. It's 2 negative quarters of GDP growth. What's GDP? It's the gross national product of the U.S. economy. It's how much the economy grows. That's the pure definition of it. But a lot of people just say, we're just not doing well. We're in a recession. Let me make very clear to you. A recession this time around would be the first of a generation. We haven't had a recession for many, many years. And it's not a downturn of the economy. We're currently in a downturn of the economy. That's not a recession. The vast majority of Americans believe this currently is a recession. It's not. There's not only a recession in the United States, there's also a recession sometimes geographically. What's important to understand is that I have viewers across all the parts of the states watching tonight's shows, and one part of the United States may see a recession first before the other part does. In the prior recession, the East Coast went in first, the West Coast went in last. East Coast came out first, West Coast came out last. Also, what's important to understand is that European recessions may happen far before ours. In fact, there's some belief right tonight that recessions have already started in Italy and potentially also in France or Germany. Third, I need you to know about labor. Labor's an easy one. We've talked about this a lot in the live chat. If you're in the live chat right now, more or less, that's the possible two answers. Have there been more or less employees in the big box retailer that you shop at? More or less, more employees or less. If you say less, then you're seeing labor changing. What is labor changing? Labor changing, when we're talking about the labor issue, what I want you to talk about is basically unemployment. We're talking about basically unemployment. In February, we were talking about hard to get employees. It was really hard to find employees, labor shortage, having to give them a raise, having to give them a bonus. That's changed. That's changed with 230,000 new jobless claims per week. 230,000 new people going on unemployment per week in the United States. That's a really bad number. Now, let me make very clear to you. I will give you the analysis. I will give you the numbers. You can also do the analysis yourself. Maybe you disagree with me. I look at 230,000 and I say it's a really bad number. Liz Warren, she looks at the number, says it's really good. Janet Yellen looks at the number, says it's really good. And Jay Powell looks at the number, says it's really good. Are they all wrong? I believe they are. But you can determine your own opinion. Let me give you a benchmark. Right before we started the pandemic, we were at 200,000 new jobless claims. Then when we came out of the pandemic earlier this year, we had 180. We've been shooting up higher. I predicted 230 2 weeks ago. It came in at 229. Right on the money again. I predicted 230 last week. It came in at 227. Right on the money again. This is bad, in my opinion. But ultimately, I need you to know that number. How often do we see that number? We see that number every Thursday morning on Mornings LA, live on air at 9 a.m. It's released by Department of Labor every Thursday morning. See how much you're learning already in this video? You're already learning where inflation is, where recession is, where is labor, and you don't need to know it by the minute, but you certainly need to know it by the day. The situation for labor is also guided by layoffs, corporate announcements. And you, as viewers of this channel, have been announcing this far before I've been announcing it. What do you say? You say stuff like, I go into the stores and I hear that my friends got laid off, or I go have lunch and I learn about my son or daughter, they got laid off. That is really stage one of the downward spiral for labor. Stage two, we're potentially already in. This is different than the phases we talked about earlier in this video. This is the stages. In the second stage, you start to see basically corporations saying, we're laying you off. That started with Tesla, 10% laid off. Coinbase, 18% laid off. It continues then with what we call hiring freezes. Hiring freezes are very scary. It basically says don't come asking for a job because we're not accepting applications anytime in this year. And those hiring freezes have been announced by Tesla and also Coinbase. Then the next thing that comes right after that is store closures. Now, store closures is very scary. When department stores announce they're closing stores for good, that means all those jobs are lost. What have we gotten on that front in the last few days? Well, we did have the airlines announce that they're closing destinations. American Airlines closing about 6 destinations last week, including Toledo, Ohio. That means those jobs are going to be lost at that location. They also announced that they're cutting back the number of flights into Newark, New Jersey. I believe that was United, actually. And that shows more cuts across the board. What's important to understand is that unemployment is a big issue. And unemployment hits in so many ways. So those are the 3 things that I want you to know about in a single day on this channel. What's the status on inflation? What's the status on recession? And what's the status on labor? Now, the membership newsletter launched by this channel over a year ago. For members of this channel, are you a member? I hope you are. Jump in the live chat. Go jump in under the video where it says join here. Delivers those 4 stimulus check informations in every newsletter. The newsletter also delivers a lot of other information. Delivers where corn and wheat is, where gasoline prices are, because you need to know gasoline. And it also delivers you other benchmarks. New tonight on the newsletter is the inclusion of something inspired by one viewer, worksheets. The newsletter starting tonight will include now worksheets, basically a PDF that has a series of pages that are blank with headings on them, divided upon subject matters. And those subject matters are allowing you to take notes, because that's what we're covering in this video. The importance of taking notes when situations are changing so dramatically, you need to know what's going on. And those notes are among the following subject matters. They will include, of course, what we've covered already, but it'll also include things like fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, which is senior benefits. It'll also include issues like sixth stimulus, gasoline, seventh stimulus, student loan debt forgiveness, and also the Federal Reserve. Now, what are the other subject matters I need you to know tonight and every night that you watch this channel? With breaking news, this is America's #3 most watched financial news channel in America, but we're heading to #2. In the next 90 days, you can see a brand new LA with more coverage of exactly what you love and a lot of big surprises. The other 3 subject matters I need you to know on a regular basis are what's happening with housing, retail sales, which I'm going to use as sort of a broad term, and also the stock market. In the case of housing, this is the part of the economy that's perhaps the worst. Most people agree upon this. And I need you to know, is it better? Is it worse? Or how much worse is it? And I need you to know that data on a regular basis. What do we know tonight for housing? We know, one, that the housing sales continue to be down month after month, consecutive months of negative growth, and those are bad numbers that continue to erode left and right. Those numbers are coming from people who are going to shop for the house and buy it, and they aren't showing up. The number of homes being sold on a daily basis is going down, and the housing data is a little bit different than other data we have on the channel, because that housing data comes out far more often than every week. Sometimes it's just every day. First, we have the housing sales, which are down 17% year to date. Next, we have the mortgage applications. When you go to buy a home, you apply for a mortgage. They're down to a 20-year low. Then we have consumer confidence in the housing market, whether we're looking at the builders or the sellers. Consumer confidence is at an all-time low, we learned last week. We also have the number of homes on the market and the time that they're on the market and the sentiment among the sellers. Those numbers are all really poor, with the exception of the number of homes on the market. Those numbers are really good. Number of homes on the market are selling really quickly. What is the latest update on those numbers as well? And I can bring this from personal knowledge here in Southern California. A lot of real estate brokers here in Southern California are reporting the following. Number of homes on the market in the last 30 days, down. Number of homes going to escrow, meaning to sell, in the last 30 days, down. Number of homes coming to market, down. So if you're a realtor, you're making a lot less money because there's a lot less homes to sell. That's what's important. Let's just jump over to stocks for just a second. Stocks are very easy to understand. Stock market. I don't need you to know about particular stocks. I just need you to know about the stock market, because remember, the stock market is an indication of where we're going as economy. Is the stock market in a crash of 2022? It is. How long will this crash go on? Into 2024. What is the crash? Is this a recession? No. It's the first downward spiral of the stock market. And what is it called? It's called a bear market. We're currently in a bear market, which means that you'll see more stocks on a daily basis down than up. And that holdings over that duration will generally be flat or negative. I mean, if you have something, it'll generally devalue or not appreciate in value. And that is the first stage of this stock market. Bear market is the first stage. Stage 2 is recession with a bear market. Let's go over the analysis, and this is what's important for you to know. Every day that I go on this channel, I report whether the stock market's up or down. You just need to know that. Was the stock market up yesterday? It was up yesterday. Was it up the day before? It was up the day before. But the week before that was horrific. Day after day, down 800 points, 700 points, 600 points. What is that? That's a bear market. Is it a bear market plus a recession? No. Let me tell you the numbers right now. In a bear market, the stock market as a whole goes down 26%. In a bear market plus recession, the stock market goes down 48%. How far down are we so far? About 26%. So we're only halfway down. How long would it take to get to the bottom? The bottom, meaning the 46 to 47, 48% down. probably 2024. It's literally going to look like this. It's going to look like this. We're going to continue to devalue throughout 2022, devalue in 2023, devalue in 2024. Here's what's important for you to know is that analysts out there, sort of like real estate brokers, some of them have really their own interests at hand. Let me tell you what's going on. What's going on for stocks is that some analysts have their own interests before yours. What are they doing? They're trying to tell you this is the bottom, to come in and start buying when it's clearly not the bottom. The bottom meaning the bottom of the stock market, meaning everything is up from here. Why are they particularly doing this? Certain analysts. Certain analysts have their interests at heart before yours. Why? If you have a stock and you're not selling it, or you have cash and you're not buying anything, they're not making money. They only make money on the transaction. They only make money when you buy and when you sell for stocks. And so if you're not doing anything, which you should not be, you should not be doing anything is what I'm saying. If they watch you doing nothing, they're not making money and they're not happy. So they want to get you to do something, which is either sell or buy. You shouldn't be doing anything, either of that in this market. If you go over to the real estate brokers, they're doing the same thing. If you look at real estate brokers in Southern California, they're sending out pamphlets. Sell your home, buy your home, sell your home, buy the home. Why? I just told you, the number of homes in the market, in the flood of the market, coming in or coming out is down. So the real estate brokers, they make money on transaction, buying or selling. If there's no buying and selling, they're making less money. They're not happy. Yeah, you see the narrative here? They want you to be engaged in this economy, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't be buying a home in this market. You shouldn't be selling a home in this market. You shouldn't be buying stocks in this market. You shouldn't be selling stocks in this market. This is a downward spiraling market, and it's not at the bottom. The talking about the bottom actually angered some analysts yesterday when they said they're really sick and tired of analysts trying to tell people this is the bottom. For one, either trying to get you to buy stuff with them, or two, and second, get themselves on broadcast news. It's not the bottom of the stock market. It's not the bottom of the housing market. It's not the bottom of this economy. It's just the start of a downward spiral. That's why it's so important of why I'm teaching you on this channel, inflation, recession, labor. And then as we went over housing and stocks, let's go over the next segment I want to go over, which is retail. You know, retail is very easy for you to see before I see. Do you go into the department store and suddenly you see very less people? And maybe you're a person who goes into a big box retail, the same one you love. Maybe you go in there once a week. Maybe you go in there once every 2 weeks. Just sort of take a visual mental note. Is there less consumers in the store? Are there more consumers in the store? Are they about the same? Because your visual note of that will be the first indication of what's going on before even I can report it. Why? Because the financial cliff is coming, and Americans understand that. And financial cliff has eroded what we call consumer confidence. When you talk about retail sales, one of the biggest issues is the consumer. Let's go over the details of this right now. This is one of the most important things that you can do. It's actually one of the easiest things you can do for helping prepare your family for this economy. If you're in a store that you normally patronize, whether it's a supermarket or a department store or just, sort of a little outlet, remember how many people in the store last week, the month before that, the month before that. If it's a restaurant, bar, do the same thing. I just see less people. I see more people. Make a mental note, because this is a guidance of where the economy is going. 3 things are happening. You're seeing consumer spending when you see how many people in the store. You're seeing consumer confidence. Less people in the store, less spending, they're less confident. Number 3, you also see the concern about the retail corporate numbers. When we look at corporate earnings, this is what we're concerned about. There's a period of delay here. We had that first quarter 2022's numbers released nearly a month ago. Walmart, Target, and lots of companies, but we don't have other corporate earnings for several weeks. That's the first problem. The second problem is the corporations are not giving us a lot of guidance. They were under fire last time, earlier this year. They're not giving us a lot of guidance. So they will not tell us that they're having a bad quarter, good quarter, until it happens. Number 3, what's important to understand is that sometimes their guidance has been a little bit skewed when they blame why the situation happened. Last time we had the corporate earnings from Walmart or Target, they were blamed it upon the products coming late. They were out of season. You didn't want the products. They didn't blame it on the consumer. They blamed it on the products. Were they right? We really don't know. What I want you to see and what I want you to learn is, are people buying where you are, or are they not buying? And based upon your understanding, your education for this channel, you make a determination why you think they are or are not buying. And this is before corporate America reports. You're going to know about this before I do, before analysts do it. This is how you're going to be empowered. This is how you're going to win in this economy, because you're going to know it before I do. When we look at retail sales, this is what I want you to know. Is consumer confidence down? Now, we do have a lot of consumer confidence numbers released on this channel on a regular basis. I think we've had nearly 3 in 1 week. Consumer confidence is where the consumer is. If you lose consumer confidence, you lose the consumer. If you lose the consumer, you lose the economy. And consumer confidence is really bad today. Consumer confidence fell again on Friday, the worst consumer confidence we've seen in a generation. It was a University of Michigan number, but we had a number a few days earlier. It was also really bad. What did consumers say? More Americans than ever before are uncomfortable with the amount of money they have saved in the bank. More Americans are uncomfortable with the amount of emergency funds they have ready in the case of a financial downturn in the economy. More Americans are worried about the stability of their job, and more Americans are worried about where the economy is going. It's a common theme over and over again. What I need you to know is what that number is on a regular basis, or what the sentiment is on a regular basis. That's why you have to tune in, because I have that type of consumer confidence numbers on this channel on a regular basis. If the consumer continues to feel less comfortable about the economy, what will the consumer do less of? If you're in the live chat, write the answer. I bet you know the answer. They will spend less money. They will have less major purchases like cars and homes. They will do less travel and leisure, and they'll do less hospitality. That is why all those numbers are down. We've been featuring travel and leisure, which is the airlines, down, 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 bookings, and while Carnival and a lot of the cruise airlines were up last Friday, they were really down for the week. Then we have hospitality, and which is restaurants and bars and hotels. They're down. And then the final part of the equation that I need you to know every day on this channel is what's going on with, you see it, gasoline. I need you to know what's going on with gasoline, and it's just not how much you pay it for at the pump. I need you to know where it is and where it's going, and we give you, we know that data because it's in the membership newsletter. The membership newsletter, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, has the big money for those 4 stimulus checks we're going to go over in 1 second, but it also has 2 numbers for gasoline in there every night. There's 2 numbers in the membership newsletter. They are, first, the international price of Brent crude. More about that in a second. And the second one is the AAA nationwide average for unleaded. Let's go over the situation. Monday through Friday, but of course this is Saturday and you have a special edition of the newsletter tonight. Monday through Friday, the newsletter has those 2 numbers in there. First, the international price of Brent crude. This is the international number that determines gasoline. It's important because it's an international number that determines our gasoline here in the United States and everyone else's. If you're new to this channel, let me give you sort of a scope of where that number should and shouldn't be. It was generally in the low 100s, like 104, 105 before Putin invaded Ukraine. Then it shot up to about 110. Then it went to 112. When it was about 110 or 112 day one of the Ukrainian invasion, we said that was not sustainable. At the time, we thought, my goodness, if it goes to 120, it's the end of the earth. And we said it was unsustainable for 110 into the month of May. Otherwise, we go into recession. What happened? It went to 120 and stayed at 120 for a very long time. In fact, it made a very sharp move from about 113, 115 before Memorial Day weekend to after it to 120 and stayed there for a while. This last week, it came down a little bit. Viewers I love have been sending me private messages. Why is it down? Did it move because something happened with negotiations? No. Gasoline is a very volatile commodity, so it will fluctuate, that number. When you look at that number in the newsletter, I also want you to look at the number for the U.S. domestic unleaded. Now, you may know how much the gasoline is at the pump there where you are, but I also want you to know this number from the newsletter. It's the U.S. nationwide average of unleaded procured by AAA. It has hovered somewhere in the high fours, 490, low fives, 504. It doesn't have a lot of volatility on it, so it moves up maybe 10 cents. The biggest move I think we've ever seen in this History Channel was up 30 cents in 7 days. But other than that, it doesn't have a lot of volatility. I want you to watch that number. If it falls to the low four into the mid fours, that's great news. Hasn't happened yet. If it goes to the mid fives, like 510, 520, that's troubling. I'm giving you sort of the guidance on where these numbers are so you understand that. Why is gasoline one of the subject matters along with inflation, recession, labor, housing, retail sales, and stocks that I want you to know? Why? Because gasoline causes all the problems. Gasoline causes all the problems. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over why gasoline will send you in a recession, why gasoline staying high will send you into a higher CPI, why a higher CPI will raise the Federal Reserve's interest rates, and why it'll send you a recession, and why that recession would come in January 2024. We're going to go over those details in the big second half. But coming up first in the big second half is those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state are coming up in the second half of this video. You qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, go get it. How do you get it? It's in the newsletter. How do you learn about the newsletter? In the second half of this video. We're going to go over all these incredible checks that you want to get right now. Now that you've learned about the economy, we're going to go over those checks. Also, in the second half of this video, we're going to go over the raising up of your benefits. Your benefits are going up, and this is great news. I'll explain that later in the second half of this video. It's America's most loved show at prime time for financial news, and it's America's #3 most watched financial news channel. It's LALATE. In the next 90 days, expect major changes coming to this channel. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page as the weekend edition of Evenings LALATE continues. See you back in 60 seconds as we go over those big checks. Become a member during the commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues in a big, bold, beautiful evening for June 25th, 2022. Hope the weather is good where you are. I know it has been hot across the United States. In the big second half of this video, we're going to go over those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. You qualify for them. Now, when getting these 4 stimulus checks, what do? You do a series of things. First, you go into this video and subscribe. Number 2, you go into the video and hit the member button. Join the channel. Join the channel. It's a button right under the video. It's also at the top of the chat. Become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Paracast, VIP. Number 3, you then get that newsletter Monday through Friday. But today, a special edition on Saturday. It's coming this Saturday with a revamped edition. I'll explain that to you in a second. You go into the membership newsletter. You go down there and you get those applications to click, 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 call, and you get that money. And let's go over all this incredible money first with an introduction. Back in the month of March, viewers who have been longtime viewers of this channel, for this channel that launched in April 2020, said, LA, can you find us a 4 stimulus check? Can you get it? Because I know you can get it. And I did. Not just one check, but lots of them. On average, over $100,000 of checks per person. I gave them a lettering system, A, B, and C, and I had a quadruple mandate for myself. I just butchered that. Quadruple mandate for myself as well. Mandate number one, that the information is easy to follow along, and it is. It's all in the membership newsletter, but we're going to go over it right now. Number two, that is big checks. Yes, over $100,000 a person. You need big money because you got to survive this economic downturn. Then you got to survive the recession. We got a long time together with this family because we got 2 years of recession coming on. I'm preparing you right now. I've been preparing you since February when I was the only American broadcaster recording that we're going into recession. That's how I care about you. That's how I prepare your family. Number two, or was this three? Number three, I want to ensure there's broad eligibility. So I want as many of my viewers to qualify for these checks as possible. Let's go over the eligibility right now. As Kat, longtime viewer, says, you do eligibility really well. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you rent, if you own, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, go get it. Finally, I ensure that I'm explaining to my viewers very clearly, you get money today, you get money tomorrow, you get money next week, you keep on getting money. That's how we do it. How do you do it? We're going to do it together, starting right now. Very first check is check A. It's a huge check, a $6,500 to $12,000. Yeah, you heard me right. Not $1,200, $12,000. I don't mess around on this channel, and I only want big checks for my viewers. And so this incredible first check is huge. How do you get this incredible first check? Well, let's go over the details of it. It's $6,500 to $12,000. It is a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. A single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. If you are a married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you're on SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, go get it. It's called the homeowner's grant check. How do you get this incredible check? Step one, subscribe to this channel. Have you subscribed? Good, you've done that. Step two, you go under the video where it says join this channel, or at the top of the chat where it says become a member, and you click the button and you become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. You'll see the people in the live chat that have an emoji of a hawk behind their name. You will as well. Have you become a member? If you haven't, do it right now. Step three, get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Today, for Saturday, June 25th, there's a special edition, and I'm going to tell you more about that in a second. And number four, I'm losing track of my numbering systems tonight. You go right down into that membership newsletter and you find that check A. In the membership newsletter, at the top, it starts with check A. It tells you a little bit more about it, tells you more details, and then it gives you the link. You click the link. You go into the nationwide website, you click your state, then you choose the homeowner's grant check, and you apply, and you pounce. And there you go. That is the wonderful check A. You're not going to stop there yet. You're going to go get check B. Check B is huge. Look at that massive sums of money. $15,000 to $80,000. The average view of this channel is tracking about $66,000 to $80,000. It's a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. It is the homeowner's grant check. And if you're on benefits like SSI or SSDI, go get it. How do you get this incredible check? You know the routine. First, go under the video and subscribe. Become part of the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, heading to number 2. I'll tell you why we're heading to number 2 in just a second. Number 2, go under the video and click the link where it says join the channel. Or at the top of the chat where it has a picture of a hawk, an emoji of a hawk, become a member. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Go down in the newsletter till you find check B, and then apply. At check B, you're going to click the link. It'll send you into the nationwide website. You choose your state, and you pounce. Routing times on these checks are about 1 week out, but they've been around since March. When they first debuted, I featured them on this channel. How did I find them? When viewers asked me to find them, I found them. They're by executive order from Joseph Biden and from the states. We're not done there yet. You can go get check C. Check C is one of the most important checks, and you're going to see this in other videos later tonight. It's important because Check C involves utilities, and utilities will likely be the most expensive bill you'll have later this winter. Check C is for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more, and it's a lot of money. It's averaging about $2,000 direct deposit monthly stimulus check over 12 months, but many viewers are averaging about $45,000. Some viewers are over $150,000. How do you get this incredible Check C? You know the routine. Subscribe, go under the video, and become a member. Then, where it says Check C, it'll tell you where to call, who to call, and what to say. Now, let me go over the importance of Check C, which I really have not done in recent days, and put it together in a more coherent way. Check C is perhaps going to be the most important check on this channel, or checks on this channel in the next few months. Let me tell you why. First, Check C involves rent assistance. How important is that going to be? Because millions of Americans are going to have problems if they get laid off as we go to phase 2 of this economy. And they're going to think that there is an eviction moratorium, because there was for almost 2 years this pandemic. It's gone. There is no eviction moratorium. So imagine how many people are going to be evicted. And landlords will be happy to evict people because they're trying to get a lot more money. Number 2, there is no mortgage forbearance. We had that for 2 years of the pandemic. It's gone as well. So banks will love to take your homes because banks want homes. It's different than 2 years ago. They want homes. There's a liquidity shortage. They'll be happy to take your home if you can't make the mortgage. Number 3, during the pandemic, there was an agreement between the states, the cities, and the federal government not to turn off your utility bill if you couldn't afford it. In fact, you didn't even have to ask to get assistance. This time around, they can turn it off. And guess what's going to be the most expensive bill next to perhaps your rent, or maybe even more than your rent, this winter? Yeah, the gas bill, the heating oil bill. And Americans are not prepared for the shocker, the sticker shocker of when they open that bill this fall. I featured on this channel earlier this week. They're going to open that bill as soon as they have the first month of heating oil and gas on because of the winter, and the bill is going to be 300 to 400% higher. And many Americans won't be able to afford it. They won't be able to afford it. And the bill, the utility, could be turned off. That's why Check C is so important. Amongst Check C, if you're new to this channel, it's one of the biggest checks that have been paid out on this channel for viewers. I've been getting Check C since December 2020. It was originally called Purple on this channel. Then it was called Third Stimulus. This is the residue of Third Stimulus. And now it's called Check C. I've gotten people fortunes. Let's go over the situation on them, and this lines up the newsletter. If you want $30,000 for rent, go get it. That's Check C. Look at these incredible success stories I've gotten for people for rent. If you want utilities, go get Check C. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000. You're going to need this. These were utilities before we had the gas shortage. Imagine how big the utilities assistance are going to be later this year, folks. Go get it. And what about the combinations? Go get Check C. Nisi, Mark, Lorraine, Johnny. Let's go over how important my fourth part of the mandate is. Getting a check today, getting a check tomorrow, getting a check the day after. This is what I've been teaching on this channel for 2 years. You don't get a $600 check today and stop. You continue to get checks. Mark, Nisi, Lorraine, Johnny have done this so well. Here's Nisi, for example. She was at $23,000. Where's Nisi tonight? She's about $50,000. She gets another couple thousand every few days. Where's Mark? He was at $32,000. He's at $166,000 tonight. You heard me right. He went from $32,000 to $50,000, from $50,000 to $100,000, from $100,000 to $166,000. Lorraine, she was at $105,000. Folks, she got another $800 last night. She sent me a beautiful private message, like $500 to $800. Every dollar adds up. She's pushing close to $150,000. She was at $105,000. She went to about $120,000. She truly embodies what I teach on this channel. Remember, let's recap what we've learned for fourth stimulus. Number 1, subscribe. Go right in this video, hit that subscribe button. Number 2, go right in this video where it says join the channel, become a member. Number 3, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's West Coast time. Remember, it's Pacific Standard Time. Know your time zone. If you're East Coast, it's 10. If you're Midwest, it's 9. YouTube alerts are sent out. And one of the YouTube alerts at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time says new LALATE post. The first line says LALATE newsletter. And then you go down in there. It'll say, here is a new post. You click the link. It sends you into the post written by me, posted to YouTube for my members. And that is the newsletter. Go down there and apply for check A. Go down there and apply for check B. Go down there and apply for check C. 3 things you must do. Subscribe, become a member, and there's a little bell under this channel. Make sure you have that bell hit so you have all notifications on. For the weekend edition of June 25th, 2022, a rare occasion, there will be a newsletter tonight. So if you're becoming a member just today, before 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, get that, become a member right away, because the newsletter tonight rolls out the worksheets. The worksheets were the inspiration from a longtime viewer, Lorraine, who I just went over. She's the person who went from 100,000 to nearly 150,000. What did she say? Earlier this week, she said, "Elliot, you always told people, bring notes and take notes on camera. I started by watching this channel with a binder. The binder's full. I want you to know that." So, based upon Lorraine's great inspiration, based upon my comments, the newsletter will now feature in there a PDF. You click the PDF in the newsletter, and then it'll open, and it'll say worksheets. The worksheets, you click it, and then it'll open a series of pages that generally look blank, but let me tell you what they are. It's about 5 or 6, 7 pages, and the pages will have headers for each of those pages for you to take notes. It's basically a series of pages for you to take notes. For example, I'm still working on them tonight at the time of this recording, so they won't be done till tonight. But for example, some of the headers may be for stimulus, 1 page. Another page may be the Federal Reserve. Another page may be 5th stimulus, which is raising your benefits. Another page may be 6th stimulus, which is gasoline. And another page may be 7th stimulus, student loan debt forgiveness. You take the pages, you put the pages in front of you, and you take notes. So, for example, if I say something new about student loan debt forgiveness, you flip to that 7th stimulus page, and you take notes, and you say, oh, Ellie just told me about this. I'm going to take notes. Moreover, as detailed last night, the 4th stimulus page is going to be great. Why? Because I'm going to have a table in there. Oh boy, yeah, you're going to love it. There's going to be a table in there so that you can take notes specifically as to when you apply for a check and when you got paid for the check and how much. And moreover, to take notes about who you spoke to if it's like a check C. The relationship of check C is something I taught earlier this week. It's very important. I want you to take real note in how professionally you speak on the phone to someone, how you invest in who they are and their family. How are you? What's your name? How was your weekend? Good. What are you doing this week? Oh, wonderful. Yeah, what town are you from? I'm from the same town. I want you to know them because you're going to be going back to them this fall and asking for more money. I want you to establish that relationship, and that involves taking notes with their name, their phone number, their extension. Yeah, that's how we do it. It's all on that page of the worksheet when you look to the 4th stimulus page. And with that, remember, subscribe, become a member, and get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. A lot of other stuff to go over with you tonight. Your benefits are going up, and they are confirmed to going up. Now, this, of course, is also the membership newsletter. Why? Because it's a little bit complicated to make in a recording. It is a little bit intense mathematics, but I'm going to try my best to give you a guidance on it, and you can follow along for it. It's written out in the newsletter. Your benefits are going up because of a series of events. The question is how much they're going up. The official statement from the Social Security is that they're going up about 8%, but I believe they're going to go up a little bit more. Let's go over the analysis starting right now. The numbers work as following. Your benefits are tied to something called COLA, cost of living adjustment, and it's announced every end of the year. At the end of the year, but it's not determined at the end of the year. It's determined based upon a number called the CPI-W for the months of July, August, and September. Social Security Administration last week, Chief Actuary Steve Goss looked at the number and said, you know what? I believe it's going to be at about 8% raise your COLA this year. He looked at, guess what? The CPI for the month of May, the number we spoke about earlier in this recording. It was high. It was 8.5%. It was supposed to be 8.3%. He thinks that means your benefits are going to go up about 8% later this year. Well, do you and I agree? Let's do the work together. Let's do the analysis together as a family right now. The CPI-W is part of the CPI. So all we have to do is watch that CPI in the month of July, August, and September to know the answer. We'll know the answer. It's no guessing game here. But what can you and I predict right now? Well, if the CPI is dependent upon the price of gasoline, stable or going higher, and gasoline goes higher, then the CPI-W goes higher. Is gasoline higher in the month of June right now than it was in the month of May? Of course it is. It's 38 cents higher. So if that continues in the month of July, August, and September, then Goss is undervaluing it. How much? I believe he's undervalued by 1 percentage point. I believe your benefits would then go up 9%, not just 8%. Wow. Remember how this works, and this is why you watch this channel, because you learn to earn. You learn to earn on this channel, and the people who are earning big money and the people who will be financially independent during this economy are the people who are prepared to learn. If gasoline prices stay high, then the CPI goes high. If the CPI goes high, then the Federal Reserve raises rates, and then you go in recession. Let's do that again. If gasoline stays high because no one has gone on and bought gasoline, then the CPI stays high. This Federal Reserve has already said the CPI is too high, I'm raising interest rates. And if he raises interest rates, you go into recession. Now with that, let's go to that last subject matter I want you to know in every video, which is the situation for gasoline. And the situation for gasoline, we're going to go over starting right now. For the situation for gasoline, what's important to understand is it all comes back to Joseph Biden and the Western allies. Gasoline is very important for you to know. This is perhaps the easiest subject matter I think you could follow along with. Gasoline starts the following way. If there's a shortage of gasoline, then gasoline goes higher. How do you remove the price of gasoline at that high point? You remove the shortage. Let's do that again. If there's a shortage of gasoline, gasoline goes higher. How do you get gasoline lower? Go buy some gasoline. It's pretty simple. How much gasoline are we missing? 3.5 million barrels of gasoline for the United States and the Western allies per day. Now, what do you need to know when watching a video? You need to know, have they bought the oil? Do they have an oil deal? Have they bought the oil? And if not, then what's the price of gasoline? That's really basically the equation. Every video on this channel since October 2021, when Putin put 100,000 Russian troops at the Ukrainian border, said, we need to be ready to buy the oil. They haven't bought the oil. Every day, the recording is the same way. They have not, the Western allies, bought the oil. So there's 3.5 million barrels of gasoline going higher, missing barrels of gasoline per day. That means gasoline is going to stay where it is, it's going to go higher. How do you know if it went higher? Either I said it in the newsletter, or either I say it on camera, or you read in the newsletter. First, the international price of Brent crude came down a little bit this week, and the price of gasoline came down a little bit at the pump. But I had great questions from the viewers. Is there a deal because it went down? No, it's just a little bit of volatility. You would see gasoline drop to like 105 international Brent crude, and AAA national average drop to, low fours, like 410, if there was a deal. And if there was a deal, I'd have it on camera. The deal requires you to get gasoline from the countries that have 3.5 million barrels of gasoline. And who are they? Venezuela, Brazil, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and OPEC+. Anything close to a deal? No, nothing close to a deal. No one even trying to get the money, trying to get the oil. And that is why you're going to hear a lot of other stuff in the White House. Trash talking the oil executives doesn't work. They don't have 3.5 million barrels of gasoline. Removing the gasoline tax at the pump, the federal gasoline tax, ridiculous. I featured this on this channel 2 nights ago. It's 82 cents a gallon. Your gas tank is 10 gallons. That is, 18 cents. I'm giving it too much credence. It's 18 cents, the federal tax. You have a 10-gallon gas tank. That means 10 times 18 cents is $1.80. He's giving you $1.80 every time you pump up some gasoline at the gas station. Ain't going to cut it. Doesn't work. That is why you need to watch the videos so you understand how this snowballs. Now, what is likely to happen between now and the next 30 days, as I've been predicting, no deal on gasoline. So you need to sort of assume there's going to be no deal on gasoline. So what are we looking for? The impact on inflation. We need to see its impact on inflation. We're going to look at that CPI number or anything that is inflationary based like CPI. And as gasoline stays high, as you'll see in the newsletter, is the CPI tracking higher? And if that CPI is tracking higher, then we absolutely know what the Federal Reserve is going to do. Raise rates. And as the Federal Reserve raises rates, then it sends you in a recession. Last week, Liz Warren at the Senate Banking Committee had Jay Powell testify. And she said, Mr. Powell, you have a dual mandate, correct? He says, yes. She said, maximum employment and price stability? Yes, he said. What if in pursuing getting price stability, which is another way to say inflation, under control, you throw Americans out of work by sending them over a financial cliff. His response? His response, the head of the Federal Reserve, who's many perceive as one of the best economists at issue, I would disagree on that one, based upon what's happened in the last 2 years. But when he was asked about that question, what was his reaction? His reaction is that a financial cliff is possible. Financial cliff is possible based upon the world events that have happened in the last few days. He says we may not get it right. What is he doing? He's raising interest rates because inflation's high. What's that going to do? Slow the economy, and perhaps slow the economy too quickly until we go into recession. The financial cliff, unemployment. We'll go from maximum employment to unemployment. We may not solve inflation, and we're certainly not going to get gasoline prices down because raising interest rates doesn't do it. What does it mean for you? You need to get rid of all the flexible base instruments at home, whether it's credit card debt, pay it off, car loans, switch it to fixed, mortgages, fix it, switch it to fixed. Do not dip in your savings. Increase the amount of money you have in your bank account and get as much stimulus as you can. When would that financial cliff be coming, LA? This is a hard one, but I really do believe it's phase 2. I believe the financial cliff is phase 2. I don't believe it is phase 3 because by then Americans will understand we're in a recession. I think phase 2, a financial cliff, is where Americans basically get surprised. That's the concept of a financial cliff. A cliff is not it's not a spiral. It's not a slow progression downward. It's basically you're walking along. You're dealing with the economy. I'm pretty good. I got laid off. I can't make rent. Well, let me go get some unemployment assistance. Let me go get some PUA, FPUC, PEUC, LWA. Doesn't exist. I'm going to be evicted. Hello, you're evicted. There is no eviction moratorium. Homeowners, I'll lose my home. There must be a mortgage. There must be a mortgage forbearance, isn't there? There is none. You're evicted. You're foreclosed upon. What? And then that utility bill comes in the fall. I can't afford this utility bill. Your gas is turned off. That's what a financial cliff is. You think it's good, and the next moment you're falling off a hill. That's what financial cliff is. It's a very clear term, and it's different than really phase 3, which is 2 years of going lower and lower and lower through a recession. Financial cliff is going to hit really badly, and it's going to hit really strongly, and here's what you need to know. The people to catch you are us. This community, the Purple Power community, is a bunch of people who are very educated, very informed, want to know and earn to learn. They've been with this channel since day one, or you may have just found this channel today. And what your focus is learning where this economy is, learning where the economy is going, and preparing your family accordingly. You understand that people who have information will survive this economy. People who don't will not. People who want to learn will pounce and get things lined up for their family right now. People who do not will get swept away. It's sort of like a hurricane, as I described it in the month of February, or as a tornado, as Jamie Dimon, head of JP Morgan Chase, described this month. I said it's out to sea, he says down the road. 2 homeowners, 2 houses, let's say, 2 houses, you and the neighbor. You understand where that hurricane is. You watch this channel and you're tracking where that hurricane is on a daily basis. The neighbor, not so much, not doing really anything. I was given a direct deposit of a check in 2020. So if a hurricane hits, they'll give me some money. Who said they would? Who said they would? No one said they're going to give you money guaranteed. And if a hurricane hits, there ain't going to be anything that's going to help all these Americans because it's going to be too severe. A financial cliff is very severe, and it's going to be very abrupt and very momentarily hitting across the board. It'll be too late to move. Let me make this very clear because I haven't made this clear before. It will be too late to prepare. You have to prepare now. That's why about the month of February, I said, prepare now. It's in the month of June. You have 90 days out. So move quickly. Go right on this video, subscribe. Go right on this video, become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple House, Casino VIP. Go to the top of the chat and go to the front of this channel and hit the bell and make sure all notifications are on. And for June 25th, 2022, get ready for a special edition of that membership newsletter coming tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. From the coast to the sea, from the lands to the floors, from the mountains to the coast, and from all parts of the United States, God bless you. I'll see you throughout the night as shows continue, with evenings live on air every night at 5:45 p.m., evenings LATE at 5. 6 o'clock is Countdown, 7 o'clock is Stream Stimulus, 8 o'clock is Extra, 9 o'clock is Sunset, and then shows continue throughout the night with early mornings starting every morning at 4 a.m. and mornings LATE at 9 a.m. Don't forget mornings Countdown at 7 a.m. and noontime at 11. And afternoons every day as well. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful night. Make sure you become a member. Go right in this video right now, become a member, and stay with LATE for more.